Get the only plan backed by GM and ask about the new GM Protection Card.
KDWB FM 101. Feeling good, it's just for you and me. Feeling good, the new KDWB.
Switch to the new KDWB FM 101 for more music, a better variety of songs, and DJs who keep you feeling good.
Feeling good, alive and having fun. Feeling good, the new FM 101. KDWB FM 101.
From WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul, this is the 6 p.m. Report with Dave Moore, Pat Miles, Mike Fairborn, and Ralph John Fritz.
Good evening, everyone. The campaign to buy out Minnesota Twins tickets as a means of keeping the Twin team in the Twin Cities is apparently picking up an important ally. This morning, a Minneapolis City Council committee voted 3-1 to give the Sports Facilities Commission $400,000 city dollars to buy Twins tickets, if needed. The money would come from parking revenues and would be above and beyond the amount the city pays the commission each year. The proposal will go to one more committee, and then the full council will vote on it next Friday. Also today, Twin Cities banker Carl Pollard said the process of buying the Minnesota Twins is a long and complex one and could be further delayed should the American League fail to approve the sale of Gabriel Murphy's minority share of the Twins to Tampa Bay. Mr. Pollard said it would be devastating to the Twin Cities to lose the Twins, but he noted that he is not interested in buying the team strictly out of civic pride.
Oh, I think the Twins are a great business opportunity, and I think with some proper marketing and with some player development, I think we can, in 2 or 3 years, have a team that will be a contender.
We'll hear more from Mr. Pollard tonight at 10. Pat?
All right, Dave, thank you. A murder suspect escaped from custody overnight in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Authorities say that Bradley Hanson, charged with killing his estranged wife near Rice Lake a week ago, escaped from a hospital where he was a patient. Mike Walser has more.
29-year-old Brad Hanson was being treated at Lakeview Medical Center for a self-inflicted wound to his stomach. At 12:50 this morning, he was being walked in the hallway as therapy. Suddenly, he bolted down this stairwell, a sheriff's deputy in pursuit. In the emergency room, Hanson struggled with the deputy and was maced twice, but still managed to get away. After he knocked the guard to the ground, Brad Hanson came out of the emergency room, ran around the edge of the hospital, and then fled into some woods to the northwest. Law officers fanned out through the nearby woods, but found no trace of Hanson. An airplane then was brought in to aid the search. Finally, a bloodhound traced his scent to Highway 48, about 1/2 mile to the west, but lost the scent there. Hanson was not armed when he escaped, but he does have a past criminal record and was facing a preliminary hearing on the murder charge this afternoon. Authorities believe he's still in the Rice Lake area.
He's about 6 feet tall, has black hair, brown eyes, would be about, I think, about 160 pounds, and he'd have about a week's growth of beard.
At midday, authorities widened their search to abandoned buildings on the north end of Rice Lake. The county attorney says the deputy involved was not negligent in the escape. With photographer Art Roy, I'm Mike Walsher, WCCO Television News, Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Hennepin County authorities are investigating a drowning late this afternoon near rural Corcoran. They say the still unidentified victim drowned in a swamp shortly before 4 o'clock. It happened near County Road 116 and Stieg Road. The victim's body was recovered after an hour-long search. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is investigating possible felony violations by Hennepin District Judge Crane Winton. 2 Dakota County attorneys have been named as special prosecutors to see whether additional charges against the judge should be filed. The Board of Judicial Standards is also investigating allegations that Judge Winton is once again hiring male prostitutes. 2 years ago, Judge Winton pleaded guilty to similar charges. Tomorrow, he is to appear before the Supreme Court to argue why he should not be removed from office. A controversial proposal, one that would ban the secret recording of conversations in Minneapolis, ran into more opposition today at City Hall. Several local news executives testified against the measure offered by Councilmember Walter Dietzick. They warn that the proposal would greatly impair the ability of reporters to accurately gather information, particularly for investigative-type reports.
In analyzing the impact of this proposed amendment on our work, I reviewed our stories over the last 3 years and concluded that 3, I believe, are important investigations would not have been done had this ordinance been in place.
Sullivan cited the I-Team's investigation of Bill Lone and the Smith Ambulance Company as 2 stories which could not have been done without secret recording. Councilmember Dietzick denies the measure is intended to be anti-press, as some critics have suggested it is, and claims it is designed to protect individual rights. The Council's Public Health and Safety Committee will hold another hearing on the proposal next month. Dave?
More than 6,000 nurses have voted to strike rather than accept the deal that's been offered by their employers. Some of the issues behind the dispute in a moment on the 6 p.m. report.
Getting out an ugly burn like this could hurt most vanity tops, but not DuPont Corian.
You can scrub Corian? Cleansers won't ruin it?
Scrub all you want. Corian is solid. The beauty goes clear through. Most vanities have just a thin finish that's easily damaged.
Look at that, not a mark. And I love the way Corian feels. It's just what I want.
Well, come see how Corian makes tubs and showers beautiful. You'll want that too. Corian, at better kitchen and bath dealers.
The long, dry spell is over. Finally, high technology has come to lawn and garden watering products. Introducing Gardena, a revolutionary line of spray guns, innovative click-on connectors, and the world's most advanced sprinklers. Precision tooled and turbo-driven for years of more natural coverage. Gardena watering products. There's nothing like them on Earth. Except maybe rain.
Available at these fine stores.
Dreaming about a new car? Better think about that big down payment and the other things you could spend it on. A vacation in the islands, your kids' tuition, that screened-in porch. Maybe you should look into leasing. With leasing, there is no down payment, only a refundable deposit and very affordable monthly payments. So get your dream car without giving up your dreams. Isn't it time you looked into leasing?
There are 26 GE auto leasing dealers in your area. See ad in Friday's newspaper.
The results of yesterday's vote by registered nurses at 7 Twin Cities area hospitals was announced early this morning. The nurses rejected the hospital's contract offer by a margin of 3-1. A spokeswoman for the Minnesota Nurses Association says it will notify the hospitals of its intent to strike, the target date for which she said is June 1st. The primary issue on which there is still disagreement, according to both sides, is the order in which a hospital may lay off nurses. The hospital says the decision should be based on the hospital's needs. The union claims it should be a matter of seniority. Dr. Larry Kuttner has been examining why the nurses feel so strongly.
Sandra Abraham has been working at Minneapolis Children's Medical Center for 11 years, since before the first patient was admitted. She helped set up the operating rooms and worked on the first open heart surgery. She speaks with great pride and enthusiasm about the hospital, yet she still voted for a strike.
The one thing that I've worked for all these years is to have seniority. It's always been uppermost in my mind. I always felt very secure in the fact that I was a stable, reliable, dependable nurse.
Like many of the nurses who voted yesterday, she feels that her experience should be strongly considered if hospitals have to reduce their staffs. She admits that even experienced nurses will need retraining if their assignments change significantly. But that, she says, is precisely what the hospital should do.
I just feel that that I deserve to be treated the same way that I feel that I treat the hospital, the way I believe in the hospital, and I really expect that from my employer.
I've chosen to put roots down here, she says, and I don't like the feeling that any time I could be replaced. Dr. Larry Kuttner, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Minnesota's economy seems to be in a holding pattern, according to the latest state index of leading economic indicators. Officials say there was little growth in the index during the month of March, after big increases in previous months. But area economists say the leveling off of economic activity is not a cause for concern, at least not yet. Pat?
There is, however, concern about rising interest rates, which affect all consumers, of course. Alan Cox has a report on the new concerns.
What makes the stock market nervous is the recent trend in interest rates, up in the last few weeks.
and some dire predictions by some economists who say rates could set a record by the end of the year. Much of the increase is spurred by the Federal Reserve. Its governors believe the economy has grown too quickly.
Their long-term objective and their long-term goal is to keep inflation in check.
The clearest example of interest rate nerves may be the housing industry. In the Twin Cities, home construction rose smartly in the first 3 months of the year, 15% above last year, well ahead of projections by the Metro Council. Some buyers apparently wanted to avoid the predicted rise in rates, and builders have seen some signs that the rate of construction has cooled off since the end of March.
We've seen early indications of that. I believe that upsurge is beginning to flatten out interest rates again, affecting the house and the home purchase.
A group of Twin Cities builders met at a Minneapolis hotel this afternoon to discuss new sources of mortgage money, including mortgages backed by the builders themselves. But widespread relief for the housing industry will have to depend on long-term relief in interest rates. Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Well, you were right on target today.
Well, we
gave you a little trouble yesterday.
Some thunderstorms early this morning. We had a nice warm day today, 78 degrees, the second warmest day
Was
this
it that
year.
warm? I guess the wind, though, kind of made it seem.
And I think we had clouds during much of the day, and in fact, it was just an hour ago that we were 78 degrees, so that was the high for the day, so that's why. But 78 is what we reached for a high. 57 for a low, and this morning when those thunderstorms came through, a trace of rain at the airport, we had about 0.07 of an inch here at CCO, and kind of interesting, muggy outside as well. Well, look what we were experiencing. We had dew points in the 60s all the way up into the southern and southeastern part of the state today, including the Twin Cities early this afternoon, dew points in the 60s, 61 degrees, much drier air out here to the west. The winds have already switched around to the west. The front is through us. The dew points are dropping off into the 40s. It feels a lot more comfortable outside right now, and it's not just because the sun's going down, okay? Looking at the latest satellite picture, there's still some clouds out to the west of us. This is some high, thin cirrus clouds associated with that whole frontal passage, but the front itself has now moved through us. The moisture that we had over us this morning is now over in central Wisconsin, still producing some showers there, and we're watching an area of showers down here in Nebraska. That could move up along this front and affect the southeastern corner of the state, but it looks like most of that precipitation is going to stay south of the metropolitan area. So we're in the clear. Get out and enjoy the evening. What we have going on, of course, is that cold front that we were talking about yesterday. Not really a cold front, a cool front, okay, a change of air masses anyway. Drier air has pushed east of us now. Behind it, some more high pressure and some sunshine, and we're going to be enjoying that tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a day much like today, absent the humidity, okay? Our satellite sequence shows the front moving through us. A very pleasant day behind it, very pleasant day down to the southeast of it. The northeast this morning was still cold, and it's still a little bit chilly back out in the Rockies, but that's helping to slow down that snow melt a little bit, and I think those folks are welcoming that. The current U.S. radar shows where the moisture is occurring down to the south of us in parts of Kansas and Nebraska and to the east of us, so most of the moisture is down to the south and the east and moving off in a northeasterly direction, most likely stay south of us. Our current conditions for tomorrow, we're looking at that frontal system well to the east of us and high pressure. Our temperatures shouldn't change a great deal. The only difference will be that we'll be drier. So high temperatures for tomorrow, we should be looking at them up into the 70s over most of Minnesota, 80s to the south of us. A little bit of cooler air back out to the northwest, but not for us, okay? Temperatures in the 70s. Our current reading, 76 degrees, humidity's 34%. The dew point has now dropped from the 60s down into the 40s, and the winds are out of the west at 15 and 29, 9-8, and the barometer's holding steady. Our forecast, mostly clear tonight, a low of 53 degrees. Tomorrow we'll be looking at mostly sunny conditions, southwest winds at 5 to 15 with a high of 76. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with 54 for a low, and Saturday, a slight chance of some scattered showers or thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon hours, a high of 75 degrees. Most of the day looks like it's going to be nice. Sunday, partly cloudy. Monday, partly cloudy. Next chance of any shower activity on the long-range outlook appears to be on Tuesday. High temperatures in the 60s. Those are the mid to upper 60s. That makes it sound a little bit better, doesn't it? And the lows in the 40s.
All right, that sounds very good. Thank you, Mike. And in just a moment on the 6 p.m. report, we will look at efforts to bring the NFL Super Bowl to the local...
Clean air is precious to us all, especially precious to a young woman with asthma. Yet at the foot of these mountains is a plant that burns coal. But here, a filtering system made possible by this new heat-resistant fiber developed by Phillips Petroleum traps particle emissions from coal to help keep the mountain air clean.
I'm so glad people protect the air here. Maybe that's because I don't take breathing for granted.
Fine products for you and your car from Phillips Petroleum, the performance company.
From Seiko Quartz technology comes a new world of elegant design, refined to the last rivet. Thin, opulent, a man's statement of style. Sinuous, delicate, beautiful design for a woman's wrist. From pure, perfect line to the splendor of diamonds. Seiko, the definitive word in elegance. Seiko watches and clocks at your authorized dealer.
Best paint towns on sale.
Terrific.
Living room.
Color Glow, only $9.77.
For a little finger friend.
Mr. H's Top Scrub, $14.77.
I like it here. They're so helpful. Fuller O'Brien's flat latex is on sale, too.
But this is for outside projects.
I know.
Thanks, Mr. H.
Hirschfield's, we get you started right.
Mr. H's paint sale on now at 8 locations.
You'll see a lot of satisfied smiles when you come into your Lincoln Mercury dealers right now. Because of cars like the roomy Mercury Marquis Brougham, it's equipped and priced to make you feel good inside.
Finally, a family-sized car our family can afford.
See your Lincoln Mercury dealer and ask his price on the Mercury Marquis Brougham. You'll get a very satisfying answer.
At your Lincoln Mercury dealer, you're gonna feel so good inside. At the sight of the gas.
There is a chance that one of the next 5 Super Bowl games could be played in the Twin Cities Metrodome. Last year, Governor Perpich appointed a committee that has worked all year to convince the NFL that Minnesota would be a good place to play that game. Next week in Washington, the NFL owners will decide which of the 14 competing cities will host a Super Bowl game. More on that story now from Ann Rubenstein.
Last year, Tampa, Florida got all dressed up and hosted the Super Bowl. And last year, Governor Perpich decided we should do the same someday. People all over town seem to think it's a great idea.
I think it'd bring a lot of money into the Twin Cities, and it would boost the economy a lot.
I think it would really increase business downtown, and I think that's important.
Super Bowl here. The efforts began 9 months ago with small gifts to the NFL team owners. From Minnesota, they got rubber duckies, chocolate ducks, a duck towel, and mallard duck bedroom slippers. The theme was Minnesota, where you can find a great game and wildlife. What may more likely sell us is a costly, classy leather book that will be presented next week along with an exclusive audio-visual presentation. Marilyn Nelson has led this whole effort and believes we have solid support among the owners.
We feel very good about 15 votes. We need 21. We feel that we're close.
The Minnesota Viking organization is solidly behind the Super Bowl drive, says the competition is stiff, and assesses the chances.
50-50. There are 14 cities that are after the Super Bowl. 4 of them, I think, have dome stadiums. And there are so many great weather cities and so forth. It's a difficult process.
Concerns that the Metrodome is not large enough and has inadequate press space have been addressed by the committee. Marilyn Nelson says improvements will be made at the Dome. Pat?
Vikings quarterback Tommy Kramer is on the comeback road. A conversation with Kramer is part of sports. Up next on the 6 p.m. report.
All hams are not alike. This water-added ham weighs about 10 pounds. This Cure 81 ham weighs the same. The water-added ham can give you 9 pounds of meat and nearly 1 pound of extra water. The Cure 81 ham gives you 10 pounds of full-flavored meat, naturally juicy. Cure 81 ham may cost more, but the difference is clear. Meat costs more than water.
Protect your vinyl and your leather now with Armor All. Nothing else can do it better than good old Armor All.
Armor All Protected is now on sale at Coast to Coast. Just $169 for the 8-ounce spray.
Oh, what a hand drill, Screwball, the hand drill. Our price is really great. Come into Coast to Coast right now and get a Screwball for $8.88.
Save $6 now
on a Screwball at Coast to Coast.
We can help you.
All across Minnesota, banks are quietly notifying their customers that they're raising the price of checking, while their customers are not so quietly reacting. If your bank is charging you more for checking, there is one place where the cost of checking isn't going up. Minnesota Federal.
Maestro Pinka Zuckerman tells why he reads the newspaper 7 days a week.
The newspaper is important.
It's just important. We all know it. It will always exist, and most of the information I receive about politics is from the newspaper. It's your own voice. It's not somebody else's voice from a box. I think the St. Paul paper covers the arts in a very sophisticated manner. There's a real talent to report exactly what's happening.
Enrich your life 7 days a week with the St. Paul Pioneer Press and Dispatch.
The big local story, at least of the moment, took place today in Georgia, Ralph.
First time this has ever happened, Dave. A couple of golfers are in the final 8 in the tennis. That's going on the NCAAs in Athens, Georgia. Oddly enough, Frederick Paulette wasn't even seeded in this year's NCAA tournament. He beat Alan Miller of Georgia 6-4, 6-4, and Larry Scott of Harvard 3-6, 6-3, 6-2 to advance to the singles quarterfinal round. Now, Stefan Erickson, Minnesota's other super Swede, beat Scott Moore of California and Andy Solis of Alabama, so both Erickson now with a 56-9 record, and Paulette with 30-16 earn All-American honors. Well, as expected, Jim Palmer was given his unconditional release from baseball by the Baltimore Orioles today, where he won 268 games in 19 years. The 38-year-old right-hander believes he can still pitch in the majors, but he had a hard time getting through this morning's news conference.
I thought should start with a joke. It's the only way I'm going to keep from crying, I think. That is, this is a heck of a way to get out of going to Rochester. But I'd just like to take some questions. There's no way that I can possibly talk. But
What
maybe,
will you do, Jim?
Well, I don't know. Probably come back in about 10 minutes and with a little bit clearer eyes. There really are so many options. I don't know at this time. You know, it's you know, boy, this is difficult. So bear with me. I hope you have a lot of tape.
Well, the photographers didn't need much tape. The statement lasted less than a minute and a half. And of course, there's always television. We all know that. Milwaukee third baseman Paul Molitor could miss up to a year of pro ball due to elbow surgery, which the St. Paul native will have on Monday. Molitor has played this season for the Brewers, but has been troubled by that injury. This afternoon in the major leagues, it was Texas over Milwaukee 4-1 in the American. Chicago losing to Cincinnati 5-3. That drops the Cubbies into a tie with the Mets for the National League East lead. Atlanta 7-2 over St. Louis. And look at this one, 5-4. It was San Diego, but in that game, Alan Wiggins of San Diego, 5 stolen bases to tie a National League record. Les Steckel will welcome the linebackers and running backs to week 2 of the Vikings minicamp tomorrow. Meanwhile, quarterback Tommy Kramer has made great strides in his recovery from knee surgery. Mark Rosen has the report.
The play is just as fresh in his mind today as it was on that Sunday afternoon in Tampa 8 months ago. Tommy Kramer read the defense, and his instincts told him to run. He maintains it wasn't a cheap shot. His foot planted, his right knee crumbled, and his season was over. According to Kramer, it was just one of those things that happens in football. As someone once said, pain and injuries are in the contract. Today, Kramer has regained his step, his spirit, and his desire to once again become the Vikings' #1 quarterback. The damaged ligament may not fully heal for another year, but the flexibility is 100%. Kramer began his painstaking rehabilitation program 2 weeks after his operation. He'll wear a knee brace this fall. He's excited about the new offense under Les Steckel because we plan on throwing deep a lot more. Psychologically, will it be difficult to come back from this injury?
Oh, I don't think there are any wounds that have to heal. I don't feel that, you know, it's the same thing that like happened back in 1978. It wasn't caused from a blow where you get hit real hard or something like that. It's just a freak accident that happened to me. And so psychologically, I don't feel I'm going to have any problems.
Kramer and quarterback Steve Dills renewed their friendship today, sharing their concern over making it through Steckel's formidable minicamp next week. But Kramer's not worried about a few extra push-ups. He's just happy to be back and healthy. Mark Rosen, WCCO Television Sports, Winter Park, Eden Prairie.
So, without question, the Minnesota Vikings had a lot of injuries last season, and Dave, as we pointed out on that videotape right there, that's the big one right there, Tommy Kramer, how he bounces back from that knee surgery.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
You go to your own dentist. You get regular checkups. You stop your dental troubles early. before little problems turn into big problems. You have a healthy set of teeth, teeth that look better and work better. You've got a Delta dental plan where you work. The only group dental plan designed to give long-term dental health to more Minnesota people.
Compared to ordinary snips, Wiss Metal Master snips will give you twice as much leverage. That means you can cut down to the tip of the blades without leaving ragged edges, without overcutting, and without losing your control on the turns. So now you can deal with sheet metal as if you were cutting paper. Wiss Metal Master snips from Cooper Tools. The difference between work and workmanship.
Lawn weeds seem to spring up overnight. Dandelion and other broadleaf weeds. The answer is Ortho Weed B Gone Weed Killer. Now in this ready-to-use applicator. There's no mixing, and you can spot kill broadleaf lawn weeds, roots and all. No more digging. Just a beautiful lawn with less work. Get Weed B Gone. Ready to use. It's easy with Ortho.
It's here, Twin Cities. 20 years of rock and roll in stereo on the new KJO 104 FM.
These days, if you were out to build a better mousetrap, you'd probably throw in transistors and a computer or two. People who are out to trap industrial spies are doing the same thing. Gear costing thousands of dollars and looking like props from the movie Star Wars are being sold to worry business people. And security costs come to billions of dollars each year. A look at how effective all of this is tonight as Alan Cox continues our special report on industrial espionage. That's tonight at 10. We hope to see you then. Good night, everyone.
Bonjour, I'm Pat Brown.
And I'm Steve Doyle. On tonight's PIA Magazine, we continue our week-long visit to Paris.
As we meet a Minneapolis model who's now a French actress.
You don't need to hire a professional to achieve a well-groomed yard. Get the same results yourself by using quality lawn care products from True Value hardware stores. Quickly trim overgrown bushes with a Black & Decker 16-inch electric trimmer. And trim around shrubs or fences with Diston cordless grass shears or this Weed Eater electric trimmer. Then sweep away litter or grass with a Paramount electric power blower. They're all available from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
This week, Montgomery Ward has a great deal on Michelin steel-belted radial tires. Save 35 to 40% on all Michelin tires in all sizes for both imports and domestics. And of course, there's no charge for installation. Buy your tires at Montgomery Ward and we'll rotate them every 5,000 miles absolutely free. Save 35 to 40% on all Michelin steel-belted radial tires now at Montgomery Ward.
Hi, I'm Gene Riskel, Clarion Examiner. Across from me, Roger Bigbert, Journal Chronicle. We're reviewing Car Wars. Now, we've been tough on these big productions in the past, but let's take a look.
Car Wars is indeed a big sale, Gene, on over 2,500 new and used vehicles.
Frankly, I'm visibly moved and impressed with this production, Raj.
Have to agree with you, Gene. Big yet tasteful, well-cast, appealing prices. Thumbs up for me.
Me too. Don't miss it. And remember to save us a passenger seat. Car Wars till Monday, only at the 100 Twin Drive-In.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.